Shout out to Caressa McKnight for basically sending me this. But before I get into it, this is the first time since the whole Cuba Gooding Jr. saga, because that's what it feels like, endless whirlwind has began. This is my first time speaking on it. And this thing kicked off back in October, maybe even before that. Like I said, so much stuff has gone on that I can't even remember half of the time because of so much. But Cuba Gooding Jr. is now he's getting the Bill Cosby treatment. Mixed, then I guess you can say, R. Kelly's kind of in a class of his own. Let's just put it this way. He has stepped onto the carpet labeled Me Too. So basically what we have going on is that Cuba Gooding Jr. was accused of inappropriately groping this woman in some bar or some place years ago, might I add. This was not recent. Okay? It wasn't recent. It was back in '09. So we're talking about 10 years ago, and they're just now pulling this video. I said, Cuba, who did you piss off? That's always the question I always ask when it comes to something like this. Who did you piss off? Who did you make mad? Who did you not bow down and kiss the ring to? And then it came out, and then I was like, yep, Cuba, he's next on the chopping block. But now, after all of that is surfaced, I said, now it's just getting utterly ridiculous. Because now you have all these women who literally are doing, almost like with Tiger Woods a little bit. That said that Tiger Woods slept with all these women when he was cheating on his wife, although I think he probably did sleep with all those women, but that was a different thing because that was consensual. But now all these women are coming out, which seems to be damn near how can I put it? Every month it seems like it's a new crop of women coming out saying that he did something inappropriately with him. And I'm like, here we go again. That's why his trial or whatever, if you want to call it, that hasn't gotten started yet, because they keep coming up with all these new women and whatnot that just keep coming out the woodwork. So what started off as one has now turned into 22. Because according to this article on MSN, it says Cuba Gooding Jr. accused of unwanted sexual contact by 7 more women, bringing the total to 22. They have to do their best to make black men look like these sexual deviants that cannot control their urges no matter what. Meanwhile, you have people out here who are sleeping with their dogs, committing incest, and all types of stuff like that. And they barely look in their direction. And mind you, these are just accusations. But that's all it takes. When it comes to black men in particular, that's all it takes is just accusations. We just had a judge who was having threesomes and all types of stuff in the courthouse where she was a judge. But she has 2 things on her side. 1, she's a woman, and 2, she's palm colored. I don't know if they're going to remove her from the bench or not. They need to, and bring her up on charges as well as all the people that were involved with her. But I already talked about that. Back to this. All it takes is an accusation when it comes to black men, and that's it. And usually it'll take 1 accusation and then it'll compound on to even more. Like what you're seeing right here where it says 22. I don't believe it. Yes, we have our issues with Cuba Gooding Jr. because of some stuff he may have said or done over the years. But at the end of the day, this just doesn't smell right to me. And something's not stirring the Kool-Aid all the way for me when it comes to this. So let me go ahead and get into this article and see what else they're talking about. Manhattan prosecutors on Monday buttressed their case against Cuba Gooding Jr. by presenting evidence he had unwanted sexual contact with 7 more women. The allegations outlined in a legal motion filed November 18th and released Monday in Manhattan Supreme Court bring to 22 the number of women who say the Academy Award-winning actor forcibly kissed, groped, or sexually abused them. In one of the new allegations, a woman accuses Gooding of harassing and then sexually assaulting her at the 2009 Sundance Film Festival in Utah. We're talking over 10 years ago, because the Sundance Film Festival that's hosted in Utah is usually in January. So it's over a year, over 10 years. The Jerry Maguire actor got mad at the woman for not drinking, the filing states. "Aren't you picky, bitch?" a Gooding allegedly said. When she eventually tried to leave the event, an agitated Gooding offered to walk her to her car and then forcibly kissed her in a secluded hallway. The woman further alleges Gooding pushed his hand into her crotch, and with such force, it caused the crotch of her tights to rip. In order to break free and run, the woman had to bite Gooding's cheek, court papers alleged. In another instance, Gooding forcefully, quote-unquote, grabbed a woman's vagina in August 2016 at a restaurant in Malibu, California. Now, isn't that funny how Donald Trump and somebody, was it Billy Bush, says something, just grab him by the you-know-what? Now, we know Cuba Gooding Jr. has a thing for the palm-colored female, so I'm only going to assume that this is the woman that accused him of doing this. I wonder if she voted for Trump after he said what he said, considering that the accusation she has against Cuba Gooding Jr. is the exact action that 45 said he would do or needs to be done to other women to get her in check. Another frightening encounter recounted in the DA's filing involves a woman who says Gooding slid his hand down the back of her pants in 2011 at a restaurant in Georgia after she repeatedly told him she wasn't interested. My thing is this: where were all of these accusations for these allegations when it happened? That's what I'd like to know. Where was all of that then? It was non-existent. That's why it's so hard for me to believe a lot of these women when they come out and they say things like this, because the timeline just doesn't add up. Why didn't you say anything then? Y'all wait until he gets caught up, and then now you have your story to tell. It says, when the woman recoiled and told him to stop, Gooding allegedly told her, "I know you want to be an actress. I can ruin you," according to the court papers. Another woman alleges Gooding walked behind her during a 2005 Los Angeles film event, slid his hand down her top, and grabbed her breast. Okay. I want y'all to see a pattern here. Something I'm noticing with each of these women's stories that now makes me suspicious. So let me scroll up, and I hope I don't lose my spot on this part right here. So it says one part, it says that Cuba Gooding Jr. pushed his hands into this woman's into her crotch, which means he had to have gotten it somewhere into her pants. Another one said that he grabbed the woman's vagina. The one says he slid his hands down the back of her pants. And the other one says that he slid his hands down her top and grabbed her breast. Have you noticed that in all the stories, all the women are saying that he slid his hand somewhere? And this one says 2005. So now you're going way past 10 years. But you know what? When it comes to black men, that statute of limitations thing, what is that? What is that? Look at what happened with Bill Cosby. What is that? Let's see here. This is when the woman said, "Excuse me," and walked away to the bathroom. The actor tried to follow her inside, but she pushed him out. The new accusations are similar to multiple accounts of sexual abuse and forcible touching, previously detailed by Manhattan prosecutors. Gooding's lawyer said Monday night decried the spurious uncharged allegations. Unfortunately, people come out of the woodwork making false allegations against Cuba, as oftentimes happens when a celebrity is accused by the district attorney's office in a public forum. And he's right. It happens all the time. They're looking for a payday. They're looking for a come up. They need to hook all them heifers up to a polygraph and have them answer. And if they reject, drop their case against them. The district attorney's office motive in introducing these inflammatory uncharged allegations is not for any probative value, but to merely gain an advantage against the defendant and prejudice the jury against the defendant. Gooding faces 3 misdemeanor counts of forcible touching and 3 misdemeanor counts of sexual abuse, and he maintains his innocence. I'm telling you, just reading that lets me know these heifers is lying through their teeth. And if they're not lying, they are embellishing the hell out of their stories. But see, they have to keep putting it out. And see, the thing is, I think they keep bringing these women in because I think even deep down, some of them don't believe these women's stories. So they have to bring in more women to give these more heavily fabricated stories. And they feel, I guess, if the number is high enough, and 22 is a pretty high number, that it'll get the public to see Cuba Gooding Jr. in this way, that he is this sexual predator and all types of things. Remember, they call Bill Cosby a serial sexual predator. Putting that word serial in there, especially when you think of, when I think of serial, I'm thinking of either a serial killer or a serial rapist, both of them which are horrible. So they called him a serial sexual predator in order to enhance the title and make it seem like this person is just inherently dangerous, that you do not need to be around him. So what they're doing with Cuba Gooding Jr. is the same thing they do with Bill Cosby. They inflate these numbers, and then they say all these women are accusing him of doing this, that, and the third, dating back to 2005, and you didn't say nothing then? Crazy. That's why I don't believe him. And like I said, if he did do something, I bet you they're embellishing these stories, like they're adding on to make it seem like they're a bigger victim than what they are. But the thing is, I don't think they have a strong case. That's why all these other women keep popping out the woodwork. I wouldn't be surprised if they just get on the phone and look through like a little phone book or whatever and just say, hey, let's call her. She looks like she was involved with him, and get her to come up with this story to send him away. That's why I said, Cuba Gooding Jr., who did you piss off in Hollywood? That's what I'm trying to figure out. But I'm going to leave the rest up to y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next.